Captain Zachariah Fike donates a considerable amount of his own time to track down lost or stolen medals and return them to the veteran who earned them or to their families. He founded the nonprofit organization Hearts Reunited, and he travels all over the country doing return ceremonies when his research team has been able to locate the families. Captain Fike joined me in the studio to share about this organization.
It started with my mom, my best friend. She's made me the man I am today, and I absolutely love her with all my heart. She knew I liked antiques. I've been collecting antiques for about 7 years now. But while I was venturing into these shops, I noticed a lot of veteran military items, and it really broke my heart to see letters, uniforms, medals just kind of displaced within these shops. So I started to rescue them. So in Christmas in 2009, she found a Purple Heart. She paid $100 for it, and it was the big gift of the evening for me. I knew what it was right away when I opened it, and I saw that there was a name engraved on the back, Corrado Piccoli. And it really set on me that this medal didn't belong to me, and it set me on a journey. It took me a year to find his family, but I was successful in finding them and was able to return the medal to them.
And what was their reaction when you returned the medal back to that family? What did they say?
This medal was very special to them. Imagine, if you will, getting that telegram that your loved one had been killed. This medal would show up in the mail in an unmarked envelope some 30 to 60 days after the fact. This was the last tangible item that they had ever received with their loved one. You can picture a mother and a father sitting in the den, opening this package, holding this medal for the last time, knowing that this would be the last item that they ever received in memory of their loved one. They cherished these medals. They had a special place for them, whether it be on the mantle in the dining room or in the hutch. They looked at it during holidays. Kids would play with it, show their friends. And then unfortunately over time, these things get lost. So it really created somewhat of a hole within their hearts. So to be reconnected with this medal filled that hole. And for me, it was beyond more than just returning a medal. It was seeing a family come together again for the very first time. And then they had their first ever family reunion. 60 members from all over the United States coming together for the first time, meeting each other, nieces, aunts, uncles, nephews, ages 4 years old to 84 for the very first time. Really touched my heart, and it's really why I do what I do.
What goes into locating a lost medal and then returning it to the family?
Essentially, people contact the organization. They send me the medal. It's very important that I see it to basically determine the time frame. The medal has maintained shape over time, but it's changed a little bit in how it's made, depending on the plastics or the resins. So I have to see it to really focus in, say it's World War I, World War II, Korea. And then I have to see the name to see if it's an actual government engraving. If it's a government engraving, it means it's called a presentation Purple Heart, which means a veteran died in combat, the medal was engraved by the government and then sent to the family. Some medals, however, have personal engravings. So veterans like myself who have a Purple Heart of their own could choose, if they live, to have it engraved on their own time. So you could really tell the difference between a personal engraving and then a government engraving. Once we determine that, we begin the search. It's a lot of time, me up at night on my laptop, 2 or 3 hours a night researching, trying to put together who he was, who his family was, who his brothers, sisters, mom, dad, etc., until we could really focus down on someone who's living. We contact them. We ask them what they would like to do with the medal. It's completely on them. Sometimes we send these medals directly in the mail with no questions asked. But some families want to do something. They want to have a memorial ceremony. So that entitles me of getting all the medals that the veteran would have been entitled to, not only the Purple Heart, but all his service medals. We get them professionally framed. Then we travel to the hometown and present those medals to the family.
What are some of the best memories or stories that you have that just kind of like live with you forever and ever?
There was a veteran who served in World War II. He was from Coleman, Alabama. He married his high school sweetheart. They knew each other since they were 12 years old. Unfortunately, he went to war, served for his country, very honorable, and he died shortly thereafter. He died in combat. Well, because he was married, his wife received his effects. And this Purple Heart meant the world to her. Unfortunately, it was a reminder to her that she lost her loved one, but it was a reminder to keep her head up and live her life. And she carried this medal with her every day of her life in her pocket. Her family confirmed it, And unfortunately, older on or later on in life, when she was in a retirement home, the last time she did her laundry, she forgot the medal was in her pocket. The medal was stuck in the washing machine for 2 years, getting washed over and over again. Unfortunately, she died during that period. The machine broke down. The retirement home called in a repairman to fix the machine, and that's when the medal was found. So they contacted me, and we were able to find the family, the veteran's last living sister, 91 years old, Willie Freeman. And we traveled there, and at graveside of the veteran, we presented her with the medal. So to think that that was such a love story, that that woman carried that medal with her every day of her life, just really touched me deep inside.
Talk about what other memories or events or returns that have really stuck out to you.
My second return was here in Massachusetts. Probably the most impacting story for me. He was a pilot in Korea. Unfortunately, he died, saving his wingman's life. He was given the Distinguished Flying Cross and the Purple Heart. It was given to his wife. He had married 2 weeks prior to leaving for war, and she lost contact with the family. Somehow this medal turned up in a landfill in Pennsylvania. It was found by the head of sanitation. He kept it. Back then they didn't have internet, so there was no way of searching for his family. They kept this medal in their family for over 2 decades. And then his grandson essentially reached out to me, and we were able to find the veteran's sister, Connie Bachman, down in Lexington, Mass. Very sweet woman, a woman that anybody would want for their grandma. I went down and visited them before the ceremony. She fed me soup. I ate about 8 bowls because I had to. She forced them down my throat. Just sweet woman. But every time she heard her brother's name, she would cry. You know, for 60 years, she couldn't go to a 4th of July or a Memorial Day or even look at the flag because it broke her heart. Just the thought of losing her little brother who meant the world to her. We had the ceremony. Her family came. It was a wonderful event. About 3 weeks later, I got a call from her daughter, and she said, "Zach, you know, my mom would like to speak to you." So I gave her a call, and I could tell right away that something was wrong. And she was diagnosed with throat cancer. I think it's something that she had prior to the event, but it just came on really at the end. And she said something to me that I will never forget. And I still, to this day, feel like I don't deserve to hear it. But she's always been afraid to die because of the loss of her younger brother. And because of this medal return and having that peace and that closure, she was completely at peace with her life. And she wanted me to know that and to thank me. And I still get teared up thinking about it. But to think that I impacted somebody's life in their last moments changed my life forever.
Talk about the significance of this medal over here.
This is probably my most famous medal. He's actually, if you're familiar with the HBO series Band of Brothers, he actually was in Easy Company. It's a strange story how the medal was located. An inmate in the Florida Corrections, unfortunately his brother died. And I guess in their state, they get like a 6-hour pass to go to the funeral. So he was able to go to the funeral, and then he had an hour to basically go through his brother's effects. He finds the medals, goes back to prison, and calls a guard and says, "Listen, this doesn't belong to my brother. You know, I'd like to find this at home." So they contacted me, and sure enough, as I started to research, I noticed that he is one of the original Easy Company guys. He died June 6, 1944, jumping into D-Day in St. Mary Glees, and we are still trying to find his family, and it's Joseph M. Jordan. So,
how many of these medals do you have waiting to go to their rightful owners or their families?
We're receiving about 3 medals a month. Currently have over 100 medals we're working. Some researchers have teamed up with me to help. Before it was me plugging away at a computer, now it's 20 or 30 of us researching medals, 30 medals at a time, which really helps speed up the process. I was averaging maybe a medal return every month or 2. Now I have 4 returns to do around Veterans Day in 4 days. So I mean, it's really catching up to me. So it's growing beyond my belief.
People think, oh, well, it just happens. But talk about that. There needs to be that time put in, like you mentioned, the research team that you've gathered, and also money. People can help you help veterans and their families. How can they do that?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a full-time captain in the Vermont Army National Guard, so I have a 9-to-5 job. Sometimes it's 7 days a week, depending on what our mission is. I do this on my own time. I spend all night researching. Sometimes I don't sleep because I'm just so overwhelmed with trying to find the families. it's a lot of my time, it's a lot of my resources. Also, the logistics of going into the medal returns, each return roughly cost me $1,200. If you've had anything professionally framed, it's not cheap. Travel to the hometown, things of that nature add up very quickly. This was all out of my own dime, but it's really why it started pushing me to create the nonprofit. People were looking for ways to donate to the foundation, so that's why I started the 501c3. People, mainly the families, are my biggest donators. They see how much it impacts their lives, and they want to carry that to the next family. So donations are coming in, and they are definitely helping with more of these medals find a home.
It seems as if maybe the younger generation doesn't truly understand what previous generations have gone through. What is the message you'd like to get across to them to make them more aware of this?
That's difficult, obviously. If they serve, they know exactly what it means. If they haven't, maybe a little different. I always leave people with a challenge. We as veterans don't ask for much, but a simple thank you can go a long ways. So the next time they see that veteran walking down the street, proudly displaying a cap that says World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Desert Storm, Iraq, or Afghanistan, just simply shake their hand and thank them. I mean, it would mean the world to them.
What's the hardest part about all of this?
Time away from family. I have to close the laptop at night and do date night with my wife. Very important. I just had the newborn son, so a lot of my focus is on him, which it should be. But yeah, just thinking of all these medals collecting and not being able to focus as much time as I'd like. One day I will have nothing but time when I retire from the Army, and I hope to do this the rest of my life. If a family can't be found, we take these medals to museums, and that way hundreds of thousands of Americans can visit that museum and appreciate who that veteran was, tell his story, and appreciate his sacrifice. I mean, the medal alone means so much. It's okay to collect other items, but for me, it's just the one item that can't be sold, bought, traded, whatnot. I mean, it's sacrifice, or it means sacrifice of life and blood of a veteran, and that means the world to me.
Now, out of all the returns you've done, only 2 you've been able to meet the original owner. They haven't passed away.
Right.
All the rest, if you could meet them, what would you say to them? What would you want to tell them?
I would say thanks for your service. I joke at some of my returns that I picture these men at a long bar in the sky, drinking a cold beer, telling lies about their war service, which we all do, and just looking down and just with a huge smile on their face that they can, relax, that their medal is back home with their family, and I think that was the intent from the beginning.
Well, thank you so much, Captain, for coming on and telling us these stories. There's so many stories to be told here. We just touched the surface, I'm sure, because over 60 medals, and I'm sure there'll be hundreds more in the future, and we can't wait to hear even more. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.